Hello, and good morning. Welcome up to the live stream. Happy Monday. Wow, markets are insane right now. Cannot believe what I witnessed this morning. Well, I should say it's pretty believable given what we've been hearing and how the market's been moving lately, but either way, oil is on fire. After closing around $91 on Friday, it is now, well, this morning it popped just under $120 a barrel. That is insane. Now it did fall. It's kind of straddling right around $100/$99 a barrel right now. So keep that in mind, but wow, what a huge jump with crude. You can see on the daily chart just the massive daily candle on the futures. If we go to USO, it's gapped up a lot, 8.78%. Oxy, ZOM. Seems like Oxy's not really doing too much here today. They're actually maybe going to be going down. Same with ZOM, now in the red, actually. 0.17%. Not good for those. At least USO, though, had that nice pump. Same with GUSH at first. SPY itself, big gap down this morning. Major gap down. Support has broken. But SPY is trying to actually bounce this morning. In pre-market, there is a solid support right at 664.50. Keep your eyes on that zone. There's been like 3 touches here on like the 5-minute chart. So be ready there. It's like a little triple bottom. If that gives out, that's where I think you could start to take this in a much more bearish way. Watch that gap. We could see the gap on SPY potentially attempt to fill before a bigger sell-off ends up ensuing. We saw this kind of happen with the SPY on Friday. It dipped down into open and then came back up a little bit and kind of reacted off resistance multiple times. HIMS, NVO, Jack says. Yeah, HIMS is on fire this morning. Huge pop to the upside, almost hitting $25. NVO, nice movement as well. Not as good, though, only up 0.9%. But HIMS, up over 25. Oh, my gosh, well, it was 30-something percent, sorry. But hitting $25. Now, that is a wild move to get up there after being at like $15 in after hours. That is crazy. You can see on the daily chart their gap up, which is nice. They're coming up off of this big dip, so they have a lot of room to still recover up if they're gonna really make an impact here. But I like it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be keeping our eyes on HIMS for the next couple of days for sure. Seems like it is pulling back now though, so not the best opening move, so to say. Too bad. UMAC is up another 8%. Unusual Machines. How about RCAT? We all like that one. Ooh, big pullback at open. I do like UMAC though. 7.9%. Huge. Oh, Degenerate Merc popped 7K on HIMS. Is it because you bought it like last week on the dip? Because that's huge. Wow. Unusual Machines. Drone company, if you didn't know. Donald Trump Jr. is like the 3rd largest shareholder of this. Coinbase, huge pop back. 2.28% up into the green today. BTC USD Bitcoin starting to move 4.46% on the day itself. Like to see that. That means IBIT is moving too. Starting to pop back a little bit. IBIT could be very interesting here as Bitcoin tries to recover. Let's see what Bitcoin's looking like on that daily. XPEV call is paying ya, a good guy says. XPEV, a Chinese EV company. Nice, there we go, XPEV. Starting to come back a little bit, 5.89%. Yeah, you're buying up the dip, it's doing pretty good. Nice, glad to see that. Glad to see it. XPEV has been kind of pulling back pretty hard lately. In a pretty big downtrend. I don't know how long you plan on holding, but nice one. Go check out SPY again, because as the SPY drops, guys, there's going to be some very interesting opportunities out there. Keep your eyes on UVXY. That's one of my favorites that can do pretty well intraday whenever the SPY does fall. Yeah, somebody in Discord asked what a good hedge play would be for a downside move. And, you know, SPXS, SQQQ, and UVXY can be great ways to try and trade something to the upside while the market drops. These generally do have very large moves to the upside, but we have to be a little bit careful and wary whenever we're talking about these stocks, because as we can tell if you zoom out, you know, you definitely don't want to hold them, right? But if you catch them at the right time, kind of like what happened on the Liberation Day crash, right? You can catch great moves like SQQQ 118% here, for example, just on the stock. That's not even the options. You know, right now, SQQQ is looking pretty good, pointing up. Obviously, the overall market's starting to turn over a lot. And the one problem that I have with the move with like SQQQ or SPXS is going to be that if the market just kind of slowly chops down, these things decay over time. And if it's not moving down quick enough, it's just probably going to chop around more of it as well. Because again, it's the short QQQ and it's leveraged. And whenever you have a leveraged ETF, that is the case where they decay over time like that. You see SPXS doing it again. And there'll always be some type of decay aspect there, whether or not, you know, even if you have something like, let's say Tesla, and Tesla trends really well for 2 years, something like TSLL or something might do very well with Tesla if it's the right direction. But the main thing is, like, there's still going to be that decay aspect, even if it's going up. It'll still come into play, granted. But if the stock just goes up a lot or goes in the right direction a lot, it doesn't really make the difference there. But I do like these. Just again, you can't hold them forever. SPXX is 3x leverage, so that's a highly leveraged one, but it moves a lot. Like today, 3.47%. pretty beautiful. That SPY is really starting to fall off intraday. Pushing our pre-market support here, right at 664.50. Keep your eyes on that. What's up, Kayla? Good guy said LITE or light is doing well. Lumentum holding 7.9%. And if you're wondering, why is the market down so much today? I think that there's a lot of focus now on crude oil, of course. And crude oil popping up this much in the short term is a pretty scary thing to see. We have not seen crude oil do something like this since, well, honestly, the sheer just volume and intensity of the move here with crude oil is actually a lot more than what we even saw with Russia invading Ukraine. Now, as that situation with Ukraine really popped off, oil had that great move up towards 130, which is awesome. But my gosh, just the speed and velocity of these few candles here, which, I mean, literally, it all happened since the beginning of March. The very first day that we opened up the new month, oil gapped up. March 2nd, technically it was. The market gapped up there and has not stopped. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the 6th trading day right now. Obviously, the Russia one took a lot more than 6 trading days, but it did have that period where it had like a few days where it really ripped. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it slowed down. Uh-oh. No, I wouldn't necessarily look at that 100% of the way there, but one thing to keep in mind with oil is Trump does not want these prices to be too high. So it's hard to say how high that they're going to end up really going, but you would think that he would try to do something to negate it. Crude rising is inflationary. Yes, it is. That's actually part of the point I was getting to here in just a second, because I was trying to find this inflation chart in the background here. We have a crude oil inflation chart. I just wanted to get the actual one. Let me pick it up real quick. Here we go. Boom. We showed this in last night's video, and I really liked this chart, so I figured I would bring it up again. So here's what we're looking at. WTI crude oil versus US inflation on the monthly. You can see here how inflation generally goes up when oil goes up. Like we look at 2020, 2022, you can see oil starting to skyrocket, and as it skyrocketed, inflation follows. Same thing here, 2015 to 2018. Again, you see oil start to slowly creep back up. As it creeps back up, inflation creeps back up. And then whenever it falls off, inflation falls off. Same thing over here, 2008, 2009, 2010, same scenario. We see both moving in the same type of way. It's something that just has happened, right? Especially in recent history. I have not had a chart that goes back much further. Actually, you know what I did? Hang on. I did have one that was a bit older, but you can see how it does still. Here it is. Here we go. Yep. Finally got it. Okay. So it doesn't go up to the current date, but at least it shows you the historical. You can see the red line is the consumer price index, and you can see the spot crude oil price, WTI, in the blue line. And you can see how they generally trend together, right? 2008, 2009, 2010, we see that pop up and drop. And every, even the little pops and drops are very close together. Now, there's some times where they might go against each other. It looks like 1980, 1988, right around there. It seems like they kind of inversed each other and touched. Sometimes that happens a little bit, but for the general larger moves, we see it come together. Look at the 70s oil crisis. And you can see recessions highlighted in gray. And every time that we get these big moves, there's generally a recession associated as well. Very, very interesting. I love looking at charts like that, though. The more data that you smush together with those, though, the worse it looks like. Circle's up 10% today, Elite said. CRCL. 10%. That is a massive move. You can see that daily chart really popping off here again with CRCL. It's been straight to the upside, and it is not stopping here. Up through 110, the recent high. No problem for Circle. HIMS is now up 41%. Okay, it's just approaching pre-market highs. I was gonna say for some reason I thought it was gonna be over $25 when I saw that, but nope. Should have looked at the last first. Moderna 7% on the day. Moderna's had some interesting price action over the past 5 trading days. They had this really good movement that was hitting here and then gave it back towards the end of last week, but they're starting to really get it back now, and I like the way in which they're ripping to the upside. A lot of strength today for Moderna. Unusual Machines gave some of their gains back. Looks like they're trying to make a little comeback, though, on the intraday basis. They bounced off 17, but they have a lot of room to go still. Coinbase was nice earlier with Bitcoin recovering. Now it's getting slower. Strategy was doing well also. I know last week Smith & Wesson went off at the end of last week with some earnings, right? Yeah, it was earnings. Popped up to 1460. They're doing pretty good again today, 2.5%. Nothing that crazy, though. Firefly, Aerospace, 3% move. This one's interesting on the daily because of how low it is. On February 19th, there were some call options entered with the big money trade here, and the stock just has not broken out, unfortunately. It hasn't fallen, but it hasn't broken out either. We need to see some big action from this one. Is it worth buying the small dip for MRVL? That's a good question here because tech is, I don't know, tech is it's in an interesting point right now. You know, we're starting to see some of the bigger chip stocks like Nvidia, Intel, AMD all retreat from highs, and they're starting to even test big supports or even break them. So that's not my favorite thing to see there. And MRVL is a chip stock. Now, it's not necessarily the biggest chip stock in the world, but it popped up. I mean, it's huge. Don't get me wrong, but it's not Nvidia, right? But it's exploding in the shorter term on earnings. Now, as it pulls back, the big question will be is, okay, is this uptrend going to really continue if tech truly turns over and the market truly turns over? You know, we could see MRVL continue to downtrend just because of overall market conditions. It might not even be MRVL's fault, right? But whenever you have everything going on that we've been seeing, you got to be mindful of that. It honestly looks like a pretty bullish setup here. I love the gap up. I love the way in which it's you know, continuing to trend higher. Technically, if we were to draw a line, okay, I guess it's still above it, but it was below that for a little while again. But that's not why we're looking at it. We're really looking at the trend of higher lows, and it's starting to come back. So as it fills the gap, I think over the next couple of trading days, I would watch for like $80 to $81 as support and potentially look to snipe it there. I don't think I'd be buying up the dip here though, personally, today. But if we do fill that gap, that would be a nice one. The gap would fill somewhere like right here to right here, I think. But I'm definitely looking more at 80. What's up, Sean? Catch up is green. Yeah. They like to do good when the market's shaky, don't they? Catch up's forming a really good base down here. This is a nice one. Really good base on the daily. Holding support. Very strong. Note how it has strong negative correlation to the SPY for those of you that have never seen KHC, which me and Sean call catch up because it's Kraft Heinz and they make ketchup. They make all types of stuff, but that's our favorite. I'm sure somebody's gonna say macaroni in the comments section at some point. Raul says, can you take a look at silver? SLV, yeah. SLV is consolidating really hard here. It's down 0.12%. I do not like the way we started to see a big shift with silver. I mean, it's pretty clear that this price action is a lot different compared to what we've seen on the entire run-up with silver. And the CME started hiking margin requirements and all types of stuff. And if we go all the way back to 2011 and we look at what happened with silver, note how silver, it was similar, right? It had this beautiful uptrend going. There were some little pullbacks mixed in, really nothing bad, mainly just straight up. But we saw that big shift eventually take hold. Note how long silver just chopped around this lower range before ultimately actually giving up the gains. I'm not saying that it's going to end up giving up the gains like this or it's going to move just like that, but I would study the way in which that, you know, you can tell where the obvious shift started to happen, right? So I'm looking here at silver and I'm like, okay, have we seen that obvious shift? And yes, we have. 100%. There was an obvious shift right here. So we're definitely going to be watching this for more of a downside move, or I personally am. And I'm not going to be someone that's necessarily a huge metal long right here. I'm not going to be a huge bull on metals at the moment. I don't like the way in which that they shook back down like that. Even gold. Now gold's is a lot more interesting. It's different than silver. I would say less volatile overall, but even gold, it's, you know, it's one that's going to have to really prove itself to get past this this point, because that's a clear shift. It's a much larger shift than we've seen on the whole way up. So keep your eyes on it. And what's weird is that the market was doing good the whole time it was moving up. You know, the SPY was doing great. We were in the Liberation Day recovery, exploding, and gold and silver were popping and moving up with the market. But now that the market's turning over, we're seeing gold and silver also turn over and also get very shaky. So that's interesting, right? It's not really being used as like a true hedge play, so to say, at the moment. Granted, that could be why people buy it, but it has not been playing out that way on the chart. Sometimes during, Kayla, sometimes. It just depends. There's always a lot of like options trades being managed. You know, we like to short a lot of options, Kayla. Run up, like let's say, just different styles of vertical spreads. Also, the wheel strategy, selling covered calls, cash secure puts. Love running strategies up like that. So you know, a lot of times, like let's say it's a Friday morning or a Monday morning, like today, for example, something like that. There might be something going on in the background a few times. Like little, let's say, updates on the positions or things like that, right? They're normally slow though, so you don't have to worry about them too much. Any day trades, though, definitely come after for the most part. 160 to 162. Resistance on Palantir. Pulling back really hard here. 154.50. And if anybody wants to learn anything like the like more advanced option strategies, like let's say you're an options trader, but you know, you obviously know that there's a lot more to be had in the options market, and let's say you're struggling with options, right? There's a lot of great info at like the live Q&A sessions where Mike goes over like other strategies and strategies that he likes to use, and you can ask him straight up like, hey, Mike, what strategies do you like to run whenever you're trading options, you know? And maybe he'll give you a couple that you've never seen or heard of before, different things like that. But feel free to join up. Just sent the link in the chat for anyone interested out there. Elite says now, big money is now in the money. Service now. Nice. Continued up today. I figured Service now was going to start slowing down, but it has not. It's actually straddling big resistance though, so I am still worried it's going to slow down, especially with the way it pulled back after the initial rip today. Okay, I'll adjust my drawings just so you can quit saying it in Service. Okay, thank you. Every time I switched, it pops up with that. Let's see if it does it now. Okay, good, good, good. Sean said everybody needs ketchup. Yeah, what a good run by now. Boeing, ticker symbol BA, 224.40. Just touched off of resistance from last week, unfortunately pulling back down. I really wanted to see Lockheed continue up today, but that's not the case as of now. It's technically in the green, but you can tell the opening move was not the not the best. Ooh, last night Mike called out airlines to the downside, and they are taking a hit today. He just gave a little update in the chat, and I'm sitting here looking at him again. Wow, down 4.9%. UAL as well, 7% to the downside. AAL, massive drop too, 5.9%. Look at the daily. These things turned over pretty hard. Pretty hard. Oh, man. Tank said, good morning. What's your thoughts on SoFi? SOFI. Nice jump up off of 1680 towards 18. Looking at SoFi right now, it's down 4.4% on the day. Definitely still in overall pullback mode at this moment. Demir bought some shares on USO. Ooh. All right, Demir. Is it more of like a day trade, or are you looking at a big continuation on oil in the short term? Ah, okay. Yeah, he's doing tight stop, 118. Oh, wow. All right, yes, it's trying to come up off this double bottom, so if we get that hit, you'll be pretty square. Got it, 120, okay. Interesting one on the day. Oil has moved weird since open. It's been very flat and choppy, but it is starting to bounce a little bit. So, you know, if we keep seeing crude pop up, USO should follow along. Sorry about that. Yeah, crude's holding above $100 a barrel right now, which is a pretty big development intraday. Good to see it doing that now. It was using this as resistance, so it's definitely good to see it above there. Good bullish sign, at least for the middle of the trading day here. It's a good pop with SPY too. SPY's back above 664.50. Back through its resistance too, just like crude. But it's popping back a little bit. Not that it's following crude, it just they happen to be going up at the same time here, but they do have pretty similar setups this morning. Pretty strange. I don't see anything too significant from that, though. S14 says, slow day for the Sergi. Yeah, probably because the markets just got really choppy here. Uh-oh. What is that red candle starting to hit? What is that? Iran war threatens global fertilizer supplies. I know that we hit on this in yesterday's video. I just saw a little update posted by Walter Bloomberg, though. It's disrupting fertilizer production, critical to global food. About 25 to 30% of these raw materials pass through the Strait of Hormuz now. Wow. Well, they better start doing something else. Lots of airplanes or something. Gotta do something else. I've seen some countries talk about switching, like, trade routes or making other plans for their oil tankers or things like that, but some obviously can't. Some are kind of stuck. France's finance minister said that they're ready to stabilize markets and they're ready to use strategic oil reserves. Oil's been kind of falling down since that news hit. Now, the one thing I'm thinking of is it's France's oil reserves. I mean, I don't know how much impact they can have on the global oil, but it's probably at least a little significant. Hey, Demure! USO's going. There you go. USO's popping and crude's falling. Hey, you'll take it though, right, Demure? There you go, sir. There we go. You know what they say about trading oil.
60% of the time, it works every time.
I love it. Good stuff, Demure. A lot of craziness going on here. That is wild. USO. Now I got some more news. Israel's natural gas supplies to Egypt carried out from surplus available after meeting the needs of the domestic economy. mainly the electricity sector. Israel's natural gas supplies to Egypt carried out from surplus available after meeting needs of domestic economy. Very strange wording there, I gotta say. It just says essentially they're resuming their exports to Egypt on a limited basis is essentially what they're saying. To make it easy. JP Morgan has said the Iran war could push the S&P 500 to drop 10%. I think so too. That's actually what I was thinking. More correction territory. I'm not looking for a big crash or anything like that, but correction territory, I think, is what I would expect. Something like 10% overall on the initial shock, but we'll see how it goes. SPY falling, new low of the morning since open. Pre-market lows are just under 662. Now you're done for the day. Beautiful, Demir. I like it. Done for the day. Time to go have an omelet and dig some holes and ride your e-bike. Do you still have that thing? Well, I guess the better question, do you still use it? That's the big question. Does he still use the e-bike? How fast does it go, Demir? What's the fastest? I saw some kids riding around the road by me. I'm not kidding. These kids were on the side of the road with their e-bike going quicker than the cars going the speed limit on the road. And the speed limit's like 25 on this road. And they were beating the cars. And they were on the sidewalk. Yeah, I might need one, Demir. You're right. You're right. I can beat the traffic. It's true. Until I get to the highway, then I'll be sad. Boeing 222. Moving down 4% today for Boeing. What the heck? They had that pretty good news Friday. Started popping off, and now today they're giving it back. I gotta see if there's some news. Yeah, I can't believe it. I wouldn't have thought. They're closing in on a 500 aircraft order for 737 MAX jets from China. And they traded higher Friday from that news, and I thought into this week maybe defense and stuff would be keeping them higher, but nope, not at all. Right back off. Lockheed Martin fell too, though, pretty significantly here at open. Now they popped right back, but pretty significant drop off. It's interesting to see defense chopping around. Might be providing a good buy the dip opportunity, though. Oh, Demir, do you wear a helmet? Demir lives in California. He'll probably go to jail if he doesn't wear a helmet. Ramirez says, I bought some USO calls before the close on Friday. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. USO calls before close. I bet those are doing great for you. Ah, you wear helmets too, just with camo on them. I see. 124 resistance USO. Really hitting that hard. Good thing it got there for you, Demir. Let's see if oil is turning around yet. Yep. USO turned around before crude oil did. That's kind of funny. Oh my gosh, guys. This crude oil data is delayed. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. I keep forgetting that TradingView delays that. That's very annoying. Very, very annoying. Here it is on Thinkorswim, doing just fine. Yeah, there they are. Crude oil futures. Yeah, they just hit above 104.50. Love it though, 11.66% on USO itself. Boom. Tessie fell off a cliff, down 3.2%. You would think with the oil selling off, Tesla should do good, right? Shouldn't people be like, oh my gosh, oil, and then they'll go buy electric cars? If oil sits at elevated prices again, it just might. It just might. At least it'll create a little bit of buying, not a whole ton. Sean's wearing a helmet, he says, but it's more like a hard hat. What? Are you actually? Team USA plays Mexico at 9 p.m. or sorry, 7 p.m. Central Time tonight. That'll be fun. Be a fun event. I'm sitting here looking up events for today, and that's the one that pops up. I wanted stock events, not baseball. Monday, March 9th, looking at some Trump stuff today. The president's going to be doing a roundtable in Doral, Miami. Trump National Doral. I would like to go play golf at one of those one day, but let's see. 3:30 p.m. is the roundtable. He's going to do like remarks at the Republican Members Issues Conference as well. That'll be interesting. Before the market opens every day, Sean throws his helmet on. Oh my gosh. Here's Demure's helmet right here. Demure, is that what you were running around on your e-bike with? With the patch? What is that patch from? Is that a Germany patch? It looks like you're wearing Flecktarn. Oh, it is Fleck. Oh, he said it is Flecktarn. That's so funny. I was looking at the picture and then you actually explained it on the chat. That's hilarious. Man, yeah. I'm not surprised the cops talked to you whenever you got caught with that one on. Palantir down 1.64%. That is a big drop off. 153.80 to 154. Palantir testing the lower end of its morning zone. Trump cabinet members are allegedly buying nuclear bunkers. What? What? Now this is insane. Trump cabinet members allegedly buying nuclear bunkers. Okay. Now that headline really catches my mind right there. Catches my eyes. Now that's crazy. Ooh, Iran's trying to play hardball. They're warning of $200 per barrel oil if strikes on its infrastructure doesn't stop. Now that's not good. How's crude moving with some of these updates coming through? 5-minute chart, crude still holding its ground. It's actually back above 100 a barrel again. Made the bounce back. Yep, there's crude, 5 minutes. Slowing up a little bit, but overall, still had that little pop. SPY, back to the upside here after slowly chopping lower. SPY is trying to hold its ground. I do not like today's setup on the SPY, though. This looks like it's going to flush off of the face of a cliff, guys. I do not like the way it's setting up today. If we start to see this low break at 662, watch out. Because we could see a flush under here if that's the case. It could very easily create a much larger downside move here. For those of you that just joined up recently and have not seen the update from earlier this morning, I'm going to go check out the SPY on the other chart. We can see how the SPY has been stuck in a huge trend lately. We've talked about this range. We've talked about this overall downtrend here in 2026. It has now broken underneath that. That is a very bearish signal in the short term. Most of the time, that results in some pretty harsh reactions. Happens a lot whenever you start to see big supports give out that way. So continue to eye this up closely. Monitor this situation. Let's go look at these drone companies because they've been pulling back now. RCAT pulled back pretty hard here this morning. I don't really see any news associated to RCAT. UMAC, ONDS. Yeah, they're pulling back pretty hard. Go back to RCAT again, because that was a pretty big pullback. 4%. What was UMAC? It might be green. It's like straddling. It's 0.4% to the downside, so pretty close. Do they really have earnings today? Unusual Machines? Oh, UMAC has earnings today. Who would have guessed that? Now that's going to be interesting. Let's pull up the earnings whispers chart. I missed that one. They probably didn't put it on here. Oh, no, they did. UMAC. Ha, Corn Ferry Tour. Corn Ferry reports earnings here. KFY. All the golfers out there probably know what the Corn Ferry Tour is. All right, go back to Boeing again. Lockheed. Yeah, most defense stocks pulled back too. Let's see, Northrop, NOC. Yep, massive drop off at open. They could still easily recover back up this week. Spies still looks pretty weak down here. SPY appears to be sliding off this morning. For those of you that have watched the streams for a long time, you probably know what sliding off is. It's where the stock moves up and then starts to slide off. And we're starting to see that slide off occur here with this intraday trend of lower highs. Oh, really? It's from like right there. And it could just chop around here for a while before sliding off, so keep that in mind, but looks pretty brutal. Keep watching for those headlines. There could be something that hits that, you know, continues to accelerate this downside action. Wow, what a move. Bank of America, 47 coming up. Big drop off there, 3.2%. AVGO moving lower. Look at ITB today. Holy shit. Oh my God. Continues to die. Wow, ITB down again, another 3.4%. Wow, that is an insane drop off right there. ITB. They are up 400% now. I know a lot of people out there hit on ITB as well. Degenerate Merc. TMC NOAA determined the company's seabed mining application is in substantial compliance with federal requirements. The metals company. Nice little pre-market jump on that news, it looks like. Yeah, they are having a blast right now. That is wild. Yeah, yields starting to pop back. You know what? Today, the 20-year yield had a really weird move. Big gap up and then pull back. It's about to fill the gap, so we'll see if that holds or not. Not that I really look at gap fills on yields, but ITV, Lisa says. Let's see, ITV. No, ITB is in boy. Sorry, Lisa. I know it's a little small, but the top right hand of your screen up here, there's always a ticker too. But yeah, B is in boy. KNMSO says, or Zoidberg. Welcome in today, Dr. Zoidberg. Says, I'm in RCAT. Shares as well. We should be good within a few days. Sit tight. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking with RCAT as well. You know, we're starting to see a little pullback here in the short term, but I could see it continuing to pop off, especially if the rhetoric continues to keep up in the way that it has been. My 95 strike put on ITB is doing great now, KNMSO says. Beauty. Beauty, beauty. Love to see it. Wow, the crowd likes it too. It's pretty rare the crowd gets excited. Tesla's down to 381.50 today, starting to bounce back slightly. Palantir. Nvidia's bouncing back, actually up green, 0.5% to the upside here. Nvidia turned over a little bit last week and started to trend down, especially Friday. That intraday like downtrend from the high of day was insane. There was a lot of tests there at that resistance, and an ultimate very large rejection and slide off ensued. All right, SPY coming back alive a little bit, back into the middle end of its range. It's really pushing up through 666, which is good. Good for the bulls, coming up on 667.50, 668, 668.50 as well. This is going to be a big spot for the SPY to test here. So we have this high, we have this high, and now are we going to have another high very close to here? I guess this test too, you could say. Tough price action. Go check on some of these oil stocks again, like ZOM, Oxy, and others. Wow, ZOM came back alive today. Ended up being a good buy the dip opportunity. Same with Oxy. They were very weak at open here. Came back extremely well though, up 2.8% now for the oil stocks. Not too surprising given how much oil's been popping lately. BP looks pretty solid intraday. It's testing a big resistance. Might go for a breakout. Corner said, days like this, book map is key. Definitely helps a bit. Let's go see what SPY's doing, if it's at the top yet. Nope. Slowed up slightly. I'm going to go look at Tesla on the book map really quick because Tesla bounced pretty good around 381. If we look at Tesla on there, I can almost guarantee you that 380 is a big buy wall. There might even be some stacked at 381 before 380 comes up. This is a big zone of support for Tesla is why we say that. You can see how many touches and bounces have happened close to this zone. Yeah, here's Tesla on the book map, guys. 380, huge buy wall, 169,000 shares there. Now, if that breaks down today, be ready to adapt to the downside, but looks pretty good as support for now. Of course, if we see the SPY truly tumble over, that's where the big downside risk happens with Tesla and with all these other big tech stocks. As that more fear aspect hits. It might not come though, we'll see. Demure's out of here. Sounds good, Demure. Talk to you later. Good start to the week. Good start to the week. USO popped off for you. SLV. Daily chart. Still just consolidating really hard today. Not really doing much. Looking at crude oil. Kind of like USO. Gonna mimic it almost, bouncing right off $100 a barrel, using 100 a barrel as intraday support. He said it's fun to watch anyways. Always. Always, right? All right, Tessie. Love that intraday move. Good hold so far. All right, SPY. There we go. Getting up towards resistance now. Finally. When you sit here and watch it and it's stuck, it's like watching paint dry until we finally see the breakout start to occur. Took about 5 or 7 minutes there to break out. What a wild time. What a wild time to be alive in a wild market that this is. This is insane right now. SPY's all the way back. Testing resistance hard. Touching it as we speak. Seems like there's a lot of momentum here. It could potentially get through. Let's see it. Wow. All right, guys. One quick second here. I'm going to do a quick intermission. SPY's ripping 667.70. We're about an hour and 20 minutes in. Looking at a lot of these stocks, they're starting to come back quite well. SPY's coming back. Mag 7's recovering. Not bad at all. Whenever I get back, we're going to... Actually, before I leave, I'm going to start up a poll on crude oil. Because I'm curious at what you guys think with oil here. So again, crude oil is holding above $100 a barrel, or at least it's testing it right now. All right, here we go. What do we think? We have, where will crude oil end the week? Will it be at $100 to $110? Over $120? $90 to $100? Or below $90? This is a pretty big range that crude oil's in. Curious what you guys think. Where will it end this week? Will we see the big pop-off that people are talking about and end up really holding above 120? Or will we end up pulling back harshly? Time will tell. SPY is still straddling resistance. Okay, I'm going to go grab my drink really quick. I'll be right back. Give me just a moment. All right, here I am. We have the vitamin water. Let's get it. Jake says we export more oil than we use. We should be able to set prices for domestic. Oh, yeah, it's tough to say there, Jake. I'm not an oil expert in that sense. Man, Mag 7 is interesting here today, the way in which it's really recovered back. Looking at some headlines from this morning, of course, it's hard not to find anything with oil, but Iran missile downed in Turkey raises risk of wider war. Other countries are probably going to start getting involved with all the craziness happening. Wow, this is a crazy move here. SPY came back to the upside in a pretty good fashion. The volatility here is crazy. Let's go look at VIX again. It's probably falling down a little bit today, intraday. Yep, filling the gap down. You can see it starting to pop off on the daily, but it's having a very strange candle today for sure. As the market pulls back. Definitely a weird one. But guys, don't forget to vote up in this poll. Get those votes in. 29 votes. Let's get as many votes as we can. 82 people here. Let's pump it up. Xavier says, I'm starting to prefer Shake Shack over Five Guys in both food and stocks. I forget that they have a stock. S-H-A-K. Shake Shack. Oh, wow. They've been on a pretty big uptrend. I forgot about this trend that they've been on since 2023. SHAK. Wait, there was a big money trade? Oh, this one must have left my memory. But it did it's doing okay. It did well for a few weeks, but it's really testing the lower bounds of this range here. Seems pretty consistent off of it. I've only had it like one time at the the St. Louis Blues games. They have a Shake Shack thing in there. And other than that, there's really only like one Shake Shack around me, and it's always like impossible to get. Shake Shack is gas, but expensive. Yeah, like Five Guys. At least for Five Guys, you get reasonable portions, though. Yeah, you do, though. They're pretty big burgers and stuff. Man, Bank of America really sold off today. The banks and financials are having a bad day. And a bad short term. Like, they're really pulling back. IBKR is a good financial stock to buy on this pullback. Interactive Brokers. That's an interesting take, yeah. They're not bad. They've been very consistent the past few years. To the upside, it's definitely an interesting player, one to look at for sure. Trump says nowhere near sending troops into Iran. Trump said we're nowhere near sending troops into Iran. It could be a fake out. I wouldn't think that we do that, but very hard to say. That would start to look pretty rough. All right, SPY's getting towards that high of pre-market, close to 668.40, 668.50. This is a big zone. Once it breaks that, watch for it to potentially fill the gap. There's resistance at 670 and 671, but the gap will fill closer to 671. It would be pretty interesting to see that come out today. Yeah, that would be pretty rough for those elections, Hot Sauce. I'd agree. I didn't even think about the midterms. I just thought about the overall perception of it. But yeah, that's a good point as well. Very big point. You're hoping for a look above and fall for SPY. Yeah, me too, actually. That's kind of what I'm watching for today as well. It's actually just broke the high of pre-market. It's getting into the gap zone for that fill to start. This has been a wild morning. With the bounce back and everything, it makes it even stranger. Looking at crude, it's pulling back under 100 a barrel now, retreating down towards 99. Sorry, guys. Book maps. Calling it a day to avoid overtrading. Shout out to the stream and those AR calls. Hey, AR, love it. And tarot. Boom. Yeah, nice big money trade recently from January 26th. It did fairly good on that one day where it extended out on the 30th, but now it's starting to extend up really, really well. Nice $4 million call debit spread there. Yo, what's up, gamer? Thoughts on TPET, TPET, Trio Petroleum. Wow, really popping off with this news, up 2.07%. It's a reverse split over the past few years. That is a tough one there, gamer. You switched to Robinhood as a brokerage app. Oh, uh-oh. Hopefully it does well. Yeah, during this war, this could be an extremely interesting one as we see the situation with Iran play out. Very interesting. TPET is filling the gap back down today, but it has had some great pumps and price action. I would definitely eye it up. It's a interesting one here. Very low price as well. Very low price. Interesting little penny player. Looking at Bloomberg markets here. JPM could see a 10% correction in the S&P 500 as war risks build. Well, they can see a correction in their own stock probably because it's down a ton already. Have they corrected? I think they're down over 10%. Yeah, JP Morgan at the low of day today pulled back 16% overall. That's a pretty big drop for JP Morgan, the bank. The last time they fell this much was the Liberation Day crash, and they dropped 27%. On their more recent pullbacks, they've pulled back like 8%, so they're like double that. Pretty big, though, to break this recent support zone, too, around 290 to like 295, 296. That was a big zone where they constantly bounced, and yeah, it gave out right there. Giving out in a good way. Trying to eye up some of these funny headlines here, but nothing like too crazy. I'm going to be honest. I can't find anything that really, stands out besides everything that we've already known today. Congressional Democrats demand reversal of Russian oil sales into India as energy prices soar. There was that good news with HIMS and Novo today, where they reached a deal. We didn't really talk about that one too much, but they surge after Novo Nordisk drops patent infringement case over compounded weight loss drugs. Hims and Hers shares soar. They dropped their current court proceedings. They reserve the right, though, to bring it back if needed. There was an agreement between them, though. They're going to offer it to the same price as, they're going to offer it at the same price as other telehealth platforms, and no longer advertise it either. And they soared from this. Novo CEO said this morning. They're flying, though. 39.60. Novo's actually doing the best intraday. Look at the daily chart of NVO as well. That's a lot of good upside pressure by NVO, though. Hot Sauce said Robinhood's good. Ooh, uh-oh. Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's like the worst one you could have, almost. In my eyes. But, hey. Jamie Dimon can afford it. Take his attitude with him. I've never seen, in my history of trading and just doing everything that we've ever done with Stocked Up, I've never seen a broker give anybody more problems than Robinhood. None. The orders don't fill quickly. You get bad fills. The charting capabilities aren't there. The order capabilities aren't there. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as something like Thinkorswim or something like that. But, you know, again, if all you want is the simplest thing out there, it's definitely simple, but it's not the best. I always say, hey, you're playing a very complex game here with the market, with options, going up against algorithms, institutions, banks. I mean, my gosh, you can name it, right? I mean, literally, you're going up literally against strategic trading teams trying to go against you. It's a different ball game, right? You generally don't want to take the easiest route out, you know, something so complex as the market. NVO moving great. 39.70. I'll shut up though, because every time I mention Robinhood, everyone hates me. Because it's their favorite. But it's the favorite for the wrong reasons though. And most people know deep down that I'm right. Tesla 388 to 390. Big resistance going to be coming up here soon. SPY popping higher. 669.20. Wow, it got up through 669 now. We are filling the gap. Watch for that gap. I'm going to be looking for rejection somewhere in this upper zone around 670 to 671. That boots on the ground news could be pretty good, though, where he says nowhere near sending troops into Iran. Again, that could be a bit of a fake out. 44 votes in this poll, guys. Vote it up. Get those votes going. Where will crude oil end the week? 100 to 110, over 120, 90 to 100, or below 90. I'm surprised more people didn't vote for below 90, but I guess it's just so hot right now, right? Crude straddling 98, still looking pretty bearish on the day here. They tried popping off intraday, but ever since that initial pop, it has done nothing but pull back. Kind of in a slower fashion, but really not too bad. Pretty good directional action back down. Airlines are surprisingly recovering a little. Possible fake out though. Airlines recovering. AAL would be nice to see a larger sell-off on. I'm being honest. I'm looking more for a sell-off on these, but they do seem to be trying to pop up intraday. Here's what I would look for. Look at this price action from Friday. Note how that the left side of the box, how it dropped and then popped, but kind of faded back off. That's kind of what I'm watching for here with AAL, is like, is it going to continue on this fading off trend? It could definitely be starting to find a base. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't know. It's been in a pretty bad downtrend here the past few days. It's going to have to like really prove to me that, you know, it's starting to really break through here. Jake said we need it up, up, and away. We need it down, down, down is what we need. Especially Delta, but got slow. Bounce back. Unfortunate one. A lot of stocks recovered and bounced back today. It faked out a lot of people that were trying to go bearish here this morning. Some bears locked in some profits right away, and there you go, all good. But some people have held too long probably and is now sitting in a spot where they're like, oh my gosh, I shorted. Now the market's going up. What do I do? I'm going to have to cut. If you're scalping really quick, you probably should have cut a while ago. WDC's up $8. Western Digital really coming back. If we look at the past like couple weeks, even with today's comeback, it's not really up that much, but it's a good intraday move nonetheless. Oh, here we go. SPY testing that upper bound again. Let's see what happens as it gets towards 670 today. That is going to be a big day for this one. RCAT, you might have a chance still. RCAT. Oh, it's actually on big support now. RCAT is. If there was anywhere to buy the dip up today, it's probably around this zone for RCAT. It's getting closer and closer to support. It's a big support zone in reality. Xbox. How are we doing today? AppLovin, Innovage, Fastly, PACS, all might be good value. AppLovin has been interesting lately how much it started to pull back. Oh, and it's been recovering, though. I haven't been looking at him back to the upside too much, but yeah, AppLovin has come back in a great way. Ubisoft is a good reality check for AI investors and the company itself. Yeah, I mean, while they deal with AI, I mean, they're definitely not like an NVIDIA or something, or, you know, a chip maker necessarily. Are they? I mean, I don't think I've heard of them really making chips and stuff too much, but... Hey, I got a little hack for you guys. There's a little Five Guys hack right now that I see on the CNBC. Funny enough. Buy one, get one free burgers at Five Guys right now. Go check it out on the app or something. Code FG Afterparty. Okay. I'll take it. Anthropic sues the Trump administration over the Pentagon blacklist. That's a pretty good headline there. Go back to the SPY. A lot more fun intraday. SPY right up to resistance. Yep, straddling it hard, right at 670. Sigh, call options sold my DoorDash fund. Oh no. Hot Sauce says Ubisoft make games. Yeah, they got hate for using AI in the games. Ah, that's what you meant, gamer. I see what you mean now. I was wondering what you meant by that. Okay. Personally, you read Scythe in middle school, so you love AI. But most think AI is a resource wasteful and dumb. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like I think it's a good resource for now. The one thing I don't like about AI that really bothers me personally, and I don't know if it bothers any of you, and it might, but for those of you listening in, you know, maybe throw a comment out there and give me your thoughts. But one thing that I found is that nothing's really like genuine anymore. You know, nothing. Like you get an email, you can almost tell that like it was not really written by a person or anything, right? Very rarely now do you get anything genuine, because even if you're going to send an email to somebody, you'll go throw it into the AI and let it do its magic and then make it better or whatever. And yeah, just nothing's really truly genuine anymore. It's I think that it's making things lose their luster a little bit, so to say. I don't think it's that big of a deal or that crazy, but it definitely is something that, I don't know. So the only thing that I see that kind of bothers me about it. I think that's why a lot of content creators who still do it genuinely are doing very well. Or like, let's say article writers, right? People like that who are genuinely writing. Sean says, I asked Copilot to do some things with my Microsoft account. I'm on day 32. It sent me down a stupid path. Oh no. Sean's like arguing with it, but you're Microsoft. You should know what you're doing. And it's like you understand. I know sometimes they get a little silly, don't they? What are your thoughts on how this war will play out, Tom? Dr. Zoidberg says, yeah, the way in which I think that this war is going to play out is not a good one. I have a feeling that this war is going to continue to accelerate over the next couple of months, and I would not be surprised to see the U.S. eventually go for maybe a boots on the ground type of approach. I do not think it's out of the equation. I know Trump said that we're far off from that. He could be faking us out and really be ready for it right now. It's hard to say. Very difficult to say. I know that he did a lot of deception with the strikes. Iran did not think, I don't believe that they were going to be striking at that time, at least from the stuff that I've seen and read through. So that leads me to believe that there could always be a wild card, up Trump's sleeve. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Very difficult to say. I would think that if there was, it would be pretty limited, but I think that it's still going to accelerate nonetheless. I can see it continuing to accelerate here. But I do believe that this will continue to drag on for a couple to a few months at least, if not even get further out. I know some people were saying September, potentially. I mean, 6 months, that would be quite a long time. I would hope not, but I could see a few months at least. It's tough to do things in the way that we are with just airstrikes alone. If they don't want to, let's say, comply and like change leadership and different things, it could be a situation where they just keep going or keep fighting back, and it just keeps going and going. The one thing that I'm worried about with the war, and I'm putting on I'm not saying that this is going to happen, right? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy person or anything, but, Iran fights an unconventional way, right? Right now, they're doing it kind of conventionally with, like, rockets and drones and, the stuff that people probably thought that they would do, right? But the thing is like, let's say that you try to occupy something like that, Look at what happened in Iraq. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. Look what happened in all these places. It's hard to fight these like little proxies, right? It's hard to fight against IEDs, roadside bombs. It's hard to fight things like that. It's snipers. Like it makes it difficult. And whenever we go through the possible boots on the ground aspect, that's going to look really bad if that occurs, right? You're going to see lots of bad things going on. The thing that I think that could throw the U.S. into the war and really get us on the ground is, now, like I said, they fight in an unconventional way, and they're generally known for, like, terrorism, funding terrorism, doing terroristic things, right? Whenever I think about that, you have to look at what could happen in the U.S., right? If some type of terrorist activity, and now there might have been, there was a shooting a week or two ago, and I know people said that could have been tied to terrorists, or it was a terroristic activity or something. If something bad happens in the U.S., like a bigger terrorist thing, that's what would get us in. I'm not saying it would be like the Twin Towers or anything like that, but if it was something, right? Or even trying. But that's the big what if. If something like that happens, then that's what would get us in my eyes. Either way, I could see it. I see it dragging out for a while, but I'm not trying to frustrate anybody out there or anything like that, but just kind of stating some of the things I'm looking at personally. Kansas City Airport was evacuated yesterday because of a possible terrorist threat, Degenerate Merc said. Was it really? I did not see that headline. I'll have to check that out soon. But okay, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and call it there as the SPY starts to slow down close to 670. It's starting to reject back a bit. Got very close within about 10 cents or so. Good rejection, though, so far off of 670, where it's getting closer to the gap fill. It didn't fill it. The gap would fill up to around like 671, 671.50. But it's rejecting already, so could be a spot where we see it come back down. it definitely is where the SPY is starting to make a bigger move than anywhere since it started uptrending here, so that's good. Good sign for a reversal anyways. But all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Happy Monday. Great start to the week. Go out, get some lunch. And let's be ready. Watch for more headlines, for more craziness. We continue to see new alerts and updates coming through every few minutes or so, it seems like. So watch out. Right now, crude oil has been trading lower. It's sitting around 95 a barrel to 98, kind of in this lower range. If it starts to pop back over 100 here intraday, I think that would be pretty significant. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Make sure to check out tonight's video. If you want to learn better option strategies and also get in on the Bob plays, check out the link I'm sending in the chat right now for the trading floor. Get in, a lot of cool updates coming to the Discord. You guys can probably already see some of the updates, can't you? We've updated the look a little bit of some of the channels, and we have a lot of things in the works. I can't wait for that free trading view indicator. Okay, guys. Talk to you later. See ya.